Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to this Fast as Fox track guide with me. I am Austin Knight. I am joined by Nicholas Siddick, with the car being behind me, as we're going to show y'all a guide on how to go fast as Fox around Zandvoort in the Toyota GR86 for week number 1 of the production car challenge. Setup I'll be using is from the Team Watson Racing setups, so if y'all want the link to that setup, is linked in the description right there, and I hope y'all enjoy it because it will help you go fast as Fox. All right, let's get rock and rolling right now. Heading into turn number 1, we're going to be braking right as our car passes the 100-meter board, and we're going to be applying the brakes all the way to 80% and then slowly start to trail off of it. I actually went to 70% just a little bit and then started to trail off heading into the turn 1 right here, Tarzan corner. A little bit of throttle right now. Slowly get onto the throttle. It's slowly right now because we are 1/4 speed, but we are getting onto the throttle pretty early on to that corner and carrying out the speed. As we go through turns 1, heading into turns 2 and 3. Just going to hug this left-hand curb right here. And right as you turn in, just want to lift off and continue on into the next corner. A little bit of throttle application. And then this is where it gets pretty scary, or pretty fun. I'm actually shifting down into second gear right here. I'm lifting off. The little bit of throttle to keep the car momentum up, but I'm lifting off right now. Do not brake. You want to hug this outside line heading into this corner and shift into second gear. And right as you hit this green turf, you really just want to attack the throttle. The car is being assisted by the banking. This is extremely banked so you can put a lot of pressure into this car, into these tires, and they will be able to take it and shoot you out of this corner. And if you're in second gear, shift up into third. This part's self-explanatory. Hug the apexes, the insides of the track. Get onto the curb right there. Don't really attack it. Full throttle and heading up into the most tricky part of the corner. I do not know the actual name of this corner as it escapes me every time. As well, it's also in Dutch, and I don't really have a good aspect on how to speak Dutch. Hey Google, how do I say Chevrolet? Well, that's the biggest turn 7. That's the biggest attempt you're going to be seeing right now. So in about 1/8 speed, we're going to be lifting off right as we pass the 50 marker, and right as we exit this curb right here, passing the 50 marker, we're going to lift off. I'm in 5th gear right now. And this is where I forget where it is. Yeah, I'm in 5th gear, and I shift down to 4th with just a little bit of brake right there to keep the car stabilized. And keep the car stabilized, keep the car from over-rotating and having that little, quote, truffle shuffle, as a few of the other 8.6 drivers were talking about. And throughout this corner, just keep it to that inside line. I'm actually hugging the grass just a little bit. And then when you feel the car get planted, get back onto the throttle. Use this curb onto the outside edge. You can get out there. Don't feel pressured not to. You'll be fine. It's not going to be an off track. Don't worry. Stay onto the left side. And then as you go underneath this sign, you want to lift off the throttle. Apply a little bit of a brake, go from 4th gear down to 3rd gear, and then just let the car coast in until you hit this curb, and then go back onto the throttle. Now, where I'm hitting this curb is I'm just putting the 2 tires right on the inside of that curb. It does bump the car up just a little bit, but you should be fine right now. Here it is in slow motion on board. A bit of a bump right there. It will upset the car just a tad bit, but if you're keeping the momentum underneath your right foot, because you can see I'm already back on throttle, and I don't have to counter steer that much. If you're going to have a counter steering tricky moment, it will be in this section. As you can see, my wheel inputs right now, I'm just straightening out the wheel and sitting in third gear, and this is where our next braking marker is. It is extremely weird, but the moment I'm lifting off is where my A pillar is actually right there. You're going to be seeing a little pole, this guy right there. If you're running an FOV that is similar to mine, it will look like that, and it's gone like there. So I would say a better reference would be this red building right there. I'm already getting onto the brake, and this one is just, you got to feel it out. You really do. There's no real exact part of the track that you're actually looking for. If so, it would be this orange curb right there, and that orange curb would be, when it goes second, it'll be the 1, 2, 3, 4. It would be the fourth, fifth, the fourth curb in the second. This one, the fourth curb. So the fourth double orange curb, that's where you want to start lifting off and braking, shifting all the way down to second gear, and then just trailing off, letting the car settle itself into this apex right here. I'm hitting the curb just a bit. Actually, am I just kissing that curb? We're gonna do a little investigation right here. I think I'm just kissing that curb. Yes, I am, because it arcs up onto the inside right there. So if you do kiss it, just don't kiss it that hard, because it will bounce the car off just a little bit. Keep the car throttled up, and then this is what I do that is much differently than a lot of people. I'm actually lifting off, and I don't brake for this next corner. Slow motion, lifting off right as I'm crossing the middle of the track, setting up for this corner, because the longer you lift off, the more the car slows down naturally, and you don't have to get onto the brake to force another movement. And I'm just going to be coasting through this corner right here until I hit coasting into this corner. My turn-in point is pretty much this access road. That's when I'm going to start my initial approach. You can pretty much see the line that I'm using via the track evolution and the dynamic track that you can see here on iRacing. It's a pretty wide late apex because I'm already onto the throttle, and this is where you're going to be seeing a lot of the back ends of the car snap around if you really get the throttle management wrong. See, because if you hit that inside curb, it's going to upset the car, load up the right side of the car, and then you're going to have a little bit of a snap. I'll show you an example that we had in the race after this little qualifying session that we had going on. And use all the curb onto the outside. Then, straight away, full throttle, regain yourself. It's going to be braking hard in the next corner. And we're going to slow down right there. I'm already lifting off for this corner. It's lifting off at 100. That's when I'm starting my braking motion, and then braking before the curb right here. You could also brake at the curb. It's just going to be a bit harder brake to get it down, because your next corner is going to be this right-hander right here. And what I've been doing is I've been attacking this curb, really attacking this curb. I'm already off the throttle, and I'm accelerating into this corner and just absolutely nailing this curb. If you can see just how much curb I'm taking right here, it's that. That is all four wheels off the track right there. 2 wheels on that curb and 2 wheels just barely on the track. This camera will show you on how much curb you want to take. Hit it, land it, and right as you land it, get a little bit of throttle to keep the car going, and you'll be fine. Let's actually ride on board this corner. And if you hit it right, you really shouldn't notice a big jump in the cockpit. Yeah, it looks like you just hit a little small speed bump, which is honestly what a curb is. and you don't really notice it that much. When I did this, I was originally hitting the apex of the curb, and that was really pitching up the car. But after that, I did not really notice. I thought I actually missed the curbing. So braking hard, 80%. Well, at the end of the curb, going to trail off the curbs, trail off the brakes, and turn into the curbs. When you have your point of attack nailed down, you want to get onto the throttle and then nail that curb, or try to straddle the curb as I did. Nail the entry, nail the exit, and you should be fine. And then straighten out your steering. Head into this corner. Now, this corner, you're going to be getting a lot of understeer at times, especially later in the race. So, a little bit of throttle control right here. Just maybe stay at half throttle just for a little bit, and then get onto the throttle a little bit slower than normally, and you should be fine. Okay, onto the final corner and the final spot that you have to do. You could brake at this corner. I do not brake. I just lift off. I keep it in third gear, and I just lift and coast. On the outside view, it is pretty much lifting off right as that inside barrier is gone. I just keep it in third gear, and I just lift off, turn it in, onto the throttle as fast as possible, onto the outside curb, and we are good and golden. Keep it onto the inside of the track, flow onto the outside of the track. Now, I will say this. If you, in the race situation, in a racing situation, you always want to flow onto the outside of the track. The outside, you're going to have that little boost heading down the hill right there. But in a qualifying situation, it is slightly quicker to stay to the right. Though, if you're in a race situation, at the end of the straight, you will be behind if you're side by side with somebody. But in a qualifying situation or last lap situation, the inside is where you want to be, coming off of this little lip right here. Well, that is a lap from the outside in detail. I'm going to leave y'all in silence right now and give y'all a full-on lap, a full-on fast as Fox lap around Zandvoort. So, gonna crank her up, and I hope y'all enjoy. Thank you, everybody. I hope y'all have a fantastic time around Zandvoort in the Toyota GR86 or any other car that you like to run in the Production Car Challenge. I'm Austin. I am the head community representative for the Production Car Challenge, and I hope y'all have a great night. Also, the setup, once again, that I'm using is thanks to Team Watson Setups. They are the ones that have provided the setups for me today, and I hope if y'all use them, y'all find great success with them as well. Thank y'all for watching, and I hope y'all have a good night.